Welcome to Dark 10. Today, we're going to go over 10 scary mysteries. Make sure to watch until number 1, because it's one of the most scariest mysteries I've ever listened. Number 10. The unnerving story of Audrey Santo. When Audrey Santos, a young daughter, fell into their pool and almost drowned, her family's lives were turned upside down. Audrey was rescued, but her brain damage was so severe that she died. Audrey's plot, however, took an unexpected turn when religious items in the family's home started to excrete oil. Audrey was said to have supernatural powers by the Santos, who are devout Catholics, and the oil was said to have healing properties by them. Although there is no evidence that the events in Santos' home were staged for publicity, the religiously devout have turned it into a pilgrimage site. Audrey Santos died in 2007 at the age of 23, and several people have petitioned the church to make her a saint since then. Number 9. Son of Sam's possible cult connection. In the late 1970s, serial killer David, the son of Sam Berkowitz, murdered 6 women and wounded 7 others in New York City. Despite the fact that he is actually serving a life sentence for his crimes, others have challenged the conclusions. Some claim Berkowitz was not the only murderer, whereas others believe he was a member of a satanic group, based on inconsistencies in eyewitness testimony. Number 8. Terrifying cases of spontaneous combustion. Spontaneous combustion is a disturbing and fascinating cause of death that continues to perplex scientists and investigators, and it was investigated by Unsolved Mysteries in a 9th season episode that looked at a few events. Investigators were puzzled by the unexplained deaths that left the bodies largely burned and unrecognizable, with the exception of a few intact body parts, while the area around them suffered little fire damage, proving how frightening the unknown can be. Number 7. The chilling haunting of Michael Jones. Michael Jones seems to be a supernatural magnet. Michael allegedly saw his grandfather's ghost when he was 5 years old, in 1993. Michael soon started to see more ghosts in his house, including a shadowy figure he refers to as the Shadow Man. Michael had undergone 4 exorcisms by the time Unsolved Mysteries aired his case in 2001, but none of them operated. By the time the episode aired, Michael was still being possessed, however he'd grown used to them. Number 6. The increasing hauntings of the Wyrick family. After the Wyrick family moved to a new house in Georgia, their young daughter started to see a pair of ghosts whom she was able to recognize as the house's previous owners and deceased neighbors in the neighborhood that seemed pleasant to the young girl. A dark spirit soon began to haunt the family, terrifying the young girl and even attacking her and her family, leaving violent claw marks on both the daughter and her father, prompting a paranormal investigation and confirmation of some of the sightings. Later, the haunting in Connecticut too, Ghosts of Georgia, was loosely based on the Wyrick family's plot. Number 5. The strange deaths of Don Henry and Kevin Ives. Don Henry and Kevin Ives, both from Central Arkansas, were high school buddies. The couple went out on the evening of August 23, 1987, and were never seen again. The conductor of a train was the next person to see them, and he tried to stop when he saw their bodies lying in the middle of the tracks, but he was unable to do so in time. The boys' bodies were exhumed because their parents were not sure that they had smoked marijuana and fallen asleep on the tracks. Investigators discovered that the boys were not nearly as inebriated as they seemed, and that they were most likely killed before their bodies were dumped on the tracks. The boys were allegedly murdered after witnessing a heroin drop, according to police. Number 4. The disturbing disappearance of Cindy Song. Cindy Song was a Korean exchange student at Pennsylvania State University. Cindy left a party late on Halloween night in 2001 and returned to her apartment. She was never seen or heard from again. Investigators discovered that she had returned to her apartment after her purse had vanished and the false eyelashes she had worn earlier had been left behind. Someone who looked like Song was seen being pushed into a car by an Asian male in Philadelphia's Chinatown a few days later. The whole time, she was reportedly crying and yelling. Song is believed to have been abducted by sex traffickers, and after several twists and turns in the case over the years, she has yet to be identified. Number 3. The horrific crimes of Ed Bell. Ed Bell was a serial sex offender who relished the opportunity to expose himself to children. He was in Pasadena, Texas, on one of his regular exhibition runs in August 1978 when he was approached by Larry Dickens. Following a war, Ed shot Larry in his own driveway, first with a .22 pistol, then with an automatic rifle. Ed was subsequently apprehended and charged with murder, but he was released on bail and fled easily. Ed was apprehended in Panama on Valentine's Day, 1993, a year after the episode featuring his case aired, and returned to the United States. He was given a life sentence and died on April 20, 2019. He was a suspect in the murders of multiple children at the time of his death. Number 2. Stolen kids from a busy public park. The case of the stolen kids was introduced in the second season of Netflix's latest series, which followed the horrific abductions of 2 children from the same park at different times while in full view of their parents, which is a nightmare for any parent. The 1989 kidnappings of toddlers Christopher Dansby and Shane Walker from the same Harlem park resulted in fruitless searches and the frightening possibility that the 2 cases were connected, leading to a slew of theories involving child slavery rings or murderers, adding to the ordeal's already terrifying nature. Number 1. The heartbreaking death of Catherine Korzelius. Nancy Korzelius dropped her 6-year-old daughter, Catherine, off at a neighborhood mailbox just blocks from her home on a hot summer day in August 1996. Nancy went searching for Catherine when she didn't return, only to find her face down on the pavement. She died soon after, in one of the most shocking cases featured on Unsolved Mysteries. Investigators were puzzled by her death because her injuries were not consistent with a hit and run. Many people assume Catherine was kidnapped, beaten, and then abandoned on the side of the road for her family to discover. Her death is also unknown. Catherine's father was Catherine's tour manager, and in 1997, Bon Jovi released an August 7, 415 album in her honor. Subscribe Dark 10 and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos of creepy, interesting, or scary facts and much more. Check out this playlist of my Dark 10 videos of crime and killers and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.